Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Now, we will proceed to subtopic 2.2c, condition for the types of the root of quadratic equation based on the value of discriminant b squared minus 4ac. The nature, or in other words, types of the roots of quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0 is depends on the value of discriminant. Discriminant? This is what we call discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. We have three types or nature of the roots based on the value of discriminant. I will teach you one by one. Okay, actually you have learned this in secondary school, but it's okay. Let's recall. Okay, when we have a quadratic equation, when the value of a greater than 0, that means we have smile graph, right? And when a less than 0, in other words, a is negative, we have masam, graph masam. Okay, so for the first one, b squared minus 4ac greater than 0. Okay, when we want to illustrate on the graph, it will look like this. Okay, so we have two roots, one here and another one here. Okay, two real and distinct root, and when a less than 0, the shape of graph will be like this. So our root is here and here. So we have two real and distinct root. Okay, remember when the discriminant b squared minus 4ac greater than 0, that means we have two real and distinct root. Dua punca nyata dan berbeza. The next one is b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. So, the nature of the root is two real and equal root. Two real and equal root. Dua punca yang nyata dan sama. Okay, when we want to illustrate in the graph, okay, the smile graph, okay, so we have only one root. Okay, quadratic equation, actually we have two roots supposedly, but when we have b squared minus 4ac equal to 0, okay, both of the root should be the same. That's why we have two real and equal root. Okay, so for masam graph, okay, it will look like this. So we have one root here. Okay, and the next one is discriminant is b squared minus 4ac less than 0. Okay, the value of discriminant is less than 0. That means the value is negative. If the value of discriminant is negative, okay, we have no real root. Tiada punca nyata. Okay, when we want to draw it on the graph, it will look like this. Okay, dia akan jadi terapung float macam ni. Okay, and another one, kalau yang masam, dia akan jadi macam ni. Okay, so our graph didn't touch the x-axis. Okay, we don't have any value of x. Okay, that's why. So, two real and distinct root, two real and equal root, and no real roots. Okay, remember this, greater than 0, equal to 0, and less than 0. This is the note for the types of roots of quadratic equation based on the value of discriminant b squared minus 4ac. Take note, okay? Example 4. Determine the nature of the roots of the following quadratic equation based on the value of discriminant, but do not solve the equation. So for A, we have 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 equal to 0. Since we want to determine the nature of the roots, or in other words, types of our root, we need to compare it with the value of discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. So, before we use this formula, we need to determine the value of b, a, and c based on our general form of quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So, for this question, we have our a equal to 2, b equal to negative 7, and c equal to 3. Substitute into discriminant formula, b squared minus 4ac, we will get 25. 25 is positive, right? That means our conclusion is, since b squared minus 4ac greater than 0, the equation has two real and distinct roots. Now, we proceed to example 4b. We have x squared minus 6x plus 9 equal to 0. Since we want to determine the nature of the root, we need to find the value of the discriminant. Before we use the formula, we need to find the value of a, b, and c. So our a is 1, b negative 6, and c equal to 9. Use discriminant formula, b squared minus 4ac, substitute the value of a, b, and c, then we will get equal to 0. So what is the conclusion? Since b squared minus 4ac equal to 0, the equation has two real and equal roots. Next, we proceed to example 4c. We have x squared plus 3x plus 7 equal to 0. So, firstly, we need to determine the value of a, b, and c. So, for this question, we have a equal to 1, b equal to 3, and c equal to 7. Again, substitute into the formula, we will get b squared minus 4ac is equal to negative 19. Negative 19. So, our value of discriminant is negative. That means less than 0. So, the conclusion is, since b squared minus 4ac less than 0, the equation has no real root. Less than 0, no real root. Example 5. Show that the equation 2m squared x squared plus 4mx plus 5 equal to 0 has no real root. So for this question, we want to show this quadratic equation has no real root. No real root, quadratic. So we need to compare with the discriminant, since this question said no real root. So discriminant, as I told you before, the types of root based on discriminant, we have how many? 3. Yes, 3. So we have less than 0, equal to 0 and greater than 0. If the conclusion is no real root, which discriminant, which condition of discriminant that we talk about? Yep, it is b squared minus 4ac less than 0. So no real root. For this question, we want to show whether this equation has no real root. That's why we should compare with the discriminant. We want to see whether the value of discriminant is less than 0. Less than 0, that means negative lah. Okay, so negative. We want to show whether it is negative or not. Okay, so again, to find the value of discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, we need to determine the value of a, b, and c. So for this question, a equal to 2m squared, b equal to 4m, and c equal to 5. After that, substitute into the formula. Since we have 4m squared, after you expand, remember in chapter 1, indices, okay? Expand this carefully, okay? So 4m squared, we will have 16m squared minus 4 times 2 times 4 times 2m squared times 5, we will get 40m squared. So 16m squared minus 40m squared, we will get negative 24m squared. What is the conclusion? We can conclude that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0 since m squared always positive. Why? M squared. Let's say we let m equal to 2. So 2 squared. 4. If we let m equal to negative 2. Okay, when we substitute negative 2 into m, negative 2 squared. Again, it's still 4. Okay? So if we have m squared, whether the value of m is positive or negative, it will be always positive. Okay, that's why we can conclude that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. That's why shown that the equation 2m squared x squared plus 4mx plus 5 equal to 0 has no real root. That's all for part 2.2c, types of roots of quadratic equation. See you again. Bye.